Welcome to the Accounting Success Podcast. Ian Wellham is a chartered accountant helping other CPA firms maximize their profit potential and become the most relevant advisor to clients. To learn how you can add value, introduce new revenue streams, and move into high-value advisory services, simply go to www.haydenrock.com. On the podcast, Ian brings together successful accountants and industry thought leaders to share with you how they serve business owners and how you can too. And now, here's your host, Ian Wellham.
Hello, and welcome to the Accounting Success Podcast. With me on the call today is Maria Rollins of KRS CPAs, a four-partner firm located in Paramus, New Jersey. Maria manages the firm's tax practice and spearheads the handling of regulatory and compliance matters arising from state, federal, and industry oversight. With 20-plus years of public accounting experience, Maria brings extensive knowledge to the complex art of tax planning and compliance, plus an arsenal of proven strategies. She has represented her clients before the most demanding regulatory bodies, including all manner of state and federal tax agencies. She'd won significant tax abatements, penalty concessions, and favorable audit outcomes for dozens of clients across industries. KRS has been honored as one of the best places to work in New Jersey for 6 consecutive years, has been named one of the best firms to work for by Accounting Today, and was a winner in the Best Practices in Leadership competition. Firm specialities include family-owned businesses, health and dental care, real estate, food and beverage, hedge funds, business valuation and litigation support, and employee benefit plan audits. So, without further ado, let's bring in founding KRS partner Maria Rollins. Welcome, Maria.
Good morning, Ian. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. First of all, thanks for joining me. I know you've got a busy schedule today, so I appreciate that you're sharing some of your time with our listeners. Thank you. What I'd really like to know, before we start on all the things that your firm's doing, is what actually brought you to accounting? Why did you get into it?
Oh, boy, that's a good question. I really fell into the industry. I had been working, putting myself through school, through college, and I had taken a position in a private company, and it just seemed that the accountant there in that company had all the answers. Everybody went to that person, and that person was really the one that helped everyone. I do enjoy helping people, and from that moment, it just kind of found me.
Wow, that's really interesting. Now, what did your parents do? Did they play some part in you becoming a CPA?
Well, very interesting. My father was an entrepreneur. He had his own business, so I kind of grew up in seeing how small businesses work, and it was a seasonal business, so it kind of went hand in hand in what I would wind up doing.
I see. And did you have any particular inspiration then that pushed you over the edge to become a CPA?
I do like helping people, and what CPAs do in the public accounting world is we help our clients, and you really do receive such joy out of seeing the successes. So I think helping people was really the catalyst that made me stay this long in this career.
That's great. So the thing I noticed about your firm is that you and your partners seem to think differently from what I'd call the typical CPA firm. Do you agree with that assessment?
Yes, absolutely. We're constantly evaluating what our clients need and constantly trying to change how we deliver those services.
So you actively try to position yourselves differently from other accounting practices. How so?
Well, it's the world is changing, and what small business needs are changing. The traditional services that accounting firms do, as preparing tax returns and tax planning and auditing financial statements, those services are still there. But what we're finding is that small businesses really need someone who is willing to learn about their business operations and help them to achieve strategic goals of the business. And that's how we try to position ourselves with our clients.
So do you think that growing up with your father and his entrepreneurial spirit helped in that respect?
Absolutely, no doubt.
That's really good. It's really great insights as well. I'm sure your clients appreciate that you have a genuine interest from an entrepreneur's perspective. Now, I also know you offer lots of services besides just compliance services, things like financing, business valuation, wealth and estate planning. back office support. Is this part of what really makes you different, all the different services you offer?
It really does. We have looked beyond those traditional services to really help fill needs of our clients, and the service offerings have helped us to be able to do that.
Now, I read that you offer clients a detailed roadmap for success, not casual recommendations. Perhaps you'd like to talk a little bit more about that and explain how it works, with an example, for instance.
Well, the culture here that we have within the firm here is to really help our clients, and we have our staff really gauged in looking deep into our client's business. So we don't come in after the month is over or after the quarter or after the year is over and report on past results. We want to be in touch with our clients real time so we understand how their business operates, and then we can look in as an outsider, a third party with no emotion, and help them maybe adjust some of their operations to realize the successes that they have as their goals. So it really is a different approach. It's not an after the fact type of relationship. We have real-time relationships with our clients.
And how often do you have contact with your clients typically?
Many clients we have contact a few times a month. We're involved in ongoing back and forth information as their results come in. I have one client now that we identified that there was a lack of sales goals on some of their business, their actual business distribution locations, and we're monitoring that client weekly with actual sales to goal sales and costs at each location. So it's a constant ongoing Monday morning process where we're looking at that dashboard that we created and helping them make decisions for the week.
That's tremendous. And also, it seems to me that you're almost in partnership with your clients, but you're external, so you can hold their feet to the flames a little.
Yes, we can hold their feet to the flames with no emotion that a business owner often has for their business. Business owners look at their businesses as their children, and we could have that third party kind of perspective that we don't get into the emotions of all of that, and that's very important in family-owned businesses.
Now, you mentioned a couple of times real-time accounting, I think. Can you give sort of an example of what that means in your firm's case?
Well, we have a couple engagements that we're going on right now that we can talk about real-time accounting, where we're assisting in the role of the controller, and we're involved day to day with the rest of the accounting department, and we're helping them to achieve what they need to achieve on a monthly basis. So we're going beyond the accounting close, that we're helping them leading up to that close, and then evaluating that data real time.
Oh, that's interesting. So it's both operational and analytical?
And that's where we see operational, being involved at the operational level really gives you an insight to the organization and how you can help that organization.
And therefore relationships throughout the client's staff is probably key.
Yes, absolutely.
So perhaps you'd like to share with us a couple of the things that you feel that your firm does particularly well.
Well, number one would be our responsiveness. A few years ago, and I'd say maybe 2 years ago, we had actually done a survey with our clients. And the number one response that came back was how responsive our firm is to their needs. We don't have a call back within 24-hour type of policy here. We have a call back immediately if you can, because the client is sitting there at their computer or near their phone, and they need you at that moment. So responsiveness was number one. And then we surveyed our staff in conjunction with the client survey, and the staff's number one response was to respond and be responsive to our clients. So that match was really an eye-opener to us because it really defined what our culture is.
I see. And how do you keep that culture going as you bring on new staff and the whole staff selection process must be quite different for your firm?
The staff selection process is very different for our firm. We involve every level of staff, and if we're looking to add a staff member at the entry level, it is our most youngest and newest accountants that are interviewing that person. We're interviewing for fit and fit into our culture first. And then the next step is that we look at the credentials and the technical ability. We assume that that is there. We're hiring educated people with good GPAs. That's a standard. But the culture here is so important that the hire to fit is number one.
Now, I think that there are obviously, being clients, business owner clients, sometimes it's said that it can be a lonely world. And even that clients can go into their own shell or into their own world. But do you find that once you've got a relationship with a client, that they tend to reach out to you to help them, understand their business, help them avoid that feeling of loneliness, and that they're the only ones who can maybe fix a problem or grow the business or change something?
Yes, that's very funny. Sometimes we refer to ourselves, as more than just a trusted advisor. Sometimes we're the psychologist that steps in and listens to what our clients' issues are of the day, that goes beyond even their business or accounting. I think it's the fact that our clients know that we really do care about the success of their business, so we can listen to their troubles and their stresses and provide that third-party advice, that independent advice to help them succeed.
I think that's very important. I think you used the word "help them succeed." Do you find that some clients aren't actually clear about where they want to go? They've kind of got into business, they've grown perhaps over 10 or 15 years, but they don't have an end game?
We do, and we do a lot of talk on succession planning for their businesses. We do a lot of talk on buy-sell agreements. Sometimes you see complacency, and they're stuck in a rut, and they don't know where to go from there. We do try to sit down and understand what the goals are, and we talk a lot about a 3-year plan and a 5-year plan, so we can help them, guide them to, their business is their biggest asset most times. So you want to value within that asset.
Yeah, it's quite difficult to help somebody if they're not clear about their own direction. And how do you like to work? Do you find yourself spending a lot of time with a few clients, or do you have lots of clients and you need to divide your time, fairly sparingly amongst them?
Well, I like to give the time that each client's specific needs are. So for me, if I am working with a client and there could be quite a bit of upfront time to develop those goals and set up a plan to hold the client accountable and to report back on those goals. So there could be some upfront time to get them on track. And then once you get a plan in place, the follow-up time does become a lot less because you're following a plan. But we have we rank our clients A, B, and C. A lot of firms do, and every client that we bring on here is treated as if they were an A client. We always say we don't have C clients. So it's a delicate balance to be able to spread your time.
Yes. Now, of course, you have clients not just from New Jersey, but across the U.S. and around the world.
Yes.
And they're quite diverse in terms of size, ranging from multinational corporations to small independent businesses. What do you actually look for in a client? What are the things that attract you to the client?
Well, the biggest attraction is what we can do to help that client. Where can we actually see some success with what that client needs, and how we can match up our talent to get them to that next level and to help them achieve their goals. So we do talk a lot about what the client needs are, our understanding of those needs, and how we can help them achieve those goals.
Yes. I think it helps, of course, whether the client's large or small, that they welcome outside expertise and understand its value.
Yes, the size of the client. I mean, there's clients that could be a little bit larger that have very different needs, And maybe those clients are more in the need of the traditional accounting services where we're providing audit assistance or financial statement assistance. But we've found very small businesses, and we don't want to, pigeonhole any business based on size, but very small businesses that are very entrepreneurial. They have a very high need and use of technology, and it's exciting to be part of that growth.
Now, when you talk about client needs, what method or methods do you use to help you identify the client needs?
Well, it's a very long, I want to say, interview process. We sit down with the client, and sometimes, in addition to the client, the key players at the business organization, and we get a perspective from not only the owners or the stakeholders, but from the management team. And many times the two perspectives do not match up. So you really do. It's really about listening. It's just about sitting, asking pointed questions, and listening, and not trying to anticipate what you can do for them until you really understand what their needs are.
It's really interesting that the time spent up front across various different people is the way you can get your perspective. And I know that from time to time clients aren't a good fit. How do you know when they're not going to be a good fit?
Well, it does happen from time to time. We try to really ask some pointed questions on the interview process. I mean, it's not that they're just interviewing us to be their accountants, but we're also interviewing them to become our clients. And as I mentioned before, when you spend a lot of time and you treat every client like an A client, they have to understand that we're putting resources into them. And sometimes it's just not a fit. Sometimes they don't feel that their needs are what it's going to take for us to get them to where they need to be. So it's that upfront process. We can usually tell within the first few meetings of whether or not they're a good fit. And the investment is so incredibly large for us that we do try to identify it early in the process.
No, it's excellent. That's an excellent answer. Now, I also saw on your website that you're fluent in family-owned business. And I really, really, really love that phrase, fluent in family-owned business. It made me smile. So how did you come up with that?
Well, we do service quite a few family-owned businesses, and we've seen just about every functional and dysfunctional family relationship within those businesses. And we've learned to really be an independent force to help them make the important decisions that they need to make to continue that family business, to support more generations, or maybe not, maybe to sell out and support generations with the cash plan. So it's just become over years, and we're just attracted to that family dynamic. I come from a family of 6, so I think I was fluent in family issues at a very young age.
Yes, I'm sure you were. So I noticed another expression on your website that caught my attention, and I think it was echoed in some of your clients' testimonials as well. The phrase is, "We've got your back." Can you explain what you mean by that? And maybe how does that phrase embody how you serve your clients?
The culture here is that we care about our clients' businesses, sometimes even more than our clients seem to care about their businesses, and that's really where that comes from. I mean, you're focused on your business, you're in it day to day, and sometimes it's very hard to step back and look at the big picture. And we're there. We got you. We have that big picture in mind, so you can count on us for that.
Okay, well, that's really positive. Let's look at it the other side of the coin for a moment. What is one of the areas where you wish you did better as a firm?
Well, we're always working on taking the issues in accounting. I mean, we have this time compression in our industry where we do quite a bit of work between January and April 15th. And then now it seems that we have another little mini compression season around September 15th and October 15th. So what we do focus a lot on is making that better for the profession. It's we all work with it. Everyone has a say here on how we're going to do the work and how we're going to plan, for this compression. So that's something we're constantly working on to make better.
And what might you say is the biggest challenge that you face right now?
Well, there's a lot of talk right now in the profession in general, in dealing with growing staff and millennials. You hear a lot of talk about millennials. I just came from a conference last week on New Jersey Managing Partners, and there was a full day on the talk of millennials. So that's a challenge that we're all working with, directing more interest in the CPA profession, especially in our market when we're dealing with smaller businesses. It's a challenge, and I'm glad that the profession as a whole is focusing on it.
It would seem to me that because of the way you position your firm and the type of work that you do with your clients, that you are probably able to attract and keep millennials as staff members based on the firm's positioning.
We do, and we say that we don't have an issue with millennials. I don't ever want to stand on that for too long because you always have to evolve as the world evolves around you. But we give our staff a seat at the table. That really is the difference here. They could plan their day, they can plan how they do their work, and I'm finding the more responsibility you give them and they understand what's expected out of them, they're going to take it and they're going to run with it.
Right. Yeah. Yes. So you can pass them that responsibility, but then there's a bigger ownership on managing that subsequently, I think, and it's a different kind of management, correct?
It is a different kind of management, but hey, we can learn from them, and that is the two-way street here. I'm constantly learning from them every day.
Well, that's something we could all learn from, Maria. That's a really excellent piece of advice, actually. Now, your firm's repeatedly earned several best place to work accolades, and was there anything specific you can kind of point to that's led to that recognition?
Well, we do keep a very nice stocked kitchen and refrigerator of snacks and goodies and soda and all of that. But I like to think it's more about how we treat each individual here. We've identified some processes in our staff evaluation that help us build on the success of each person. So our focus is more on what you do very well and how we can position you to do more of that. And I think everyone appreciates it. So
just changing direction slightly, we spoke earlier about some of the non-compliance services that KRS offers. What would you say is the overall percentage of billings which are attributable to advisory services rather than traditional accounting or tax-based services?
That's a very good question. The number one growth area of our firm right now is in the area of offering that back office support for businesses, and we offer it in many different capacities. I mean, we can be doing work for clients that include billing and accounts payable to the outsourcing of their tax department. And I would say that is our number one growth area overall. And it's if I had to guesstimate on what that percentage of revenue will be at the end of this year, it's probably approaching the 25%.
Okay. And do you have a target? We like to at Hayden Rock, we like to talk about forward-looking and backward-looking revenue generation. So traditionally, CPA firms have been 80% of their revenues come from backward-looking services and 20% forward-looking. If you had a target, what would your target be in terms of forward and backward? Obviously, the whole industry is moving towards more forward-looking.
Yes, my target would be more than 50% forward. I think there's more value in those types of services.
And have you yet, or do you always have you already looked at value-based billing rather than by the hour?
Yes, we have, and that's another area that we are staying very close in touch with, trying to see how that'll fit into our firm model. I think value-based billing is the talk of the future, so it's something that we need to consider.
We've had a number of other forward-looking accountants like yourself on podcasts, and a number of those have already moved to the fixed billing or value-based billing. And indeed, this is good news for you. They've already achieved a 50% or more revenue from advisory work. How close do you think you are to the magic 50%?
Oh, I think that we're there. I think as we close out this year, we'll be over the 50%. And I would say that the match to that on the standard monthly billing, value-based billing, is very close behind. We should be there by the end of this year.
Oh, that's fine. And how are your clients reacting to that when you introduce that to them?
Well, they want to be able to budget their world, and a lot of the work that we're doing in that capacity is focused on budgeting and projections. So we can't turn around and say, okay, it's the third quarter, we're going to, bill you for all of this work that we're doing. So it's something that goes hand in hand with what we're trying to put together, and it works out very well. I mean, as a business owner, I like to know what my costs are. I don't like surprises.
Of course. No, of course. And actually, we've also spoke to a number of thought leaders, including Ron Baker, who talk about the firm of the future and how that advisory services and fixed billing is growing rapidly. The good news for the clients, and I'm sure you'll confirm this, is that the clients, it's no longer really a cost to the clients because the value they get out of it is way in excess of what you charge them.
Yes, I agree with that. I do, and the ideal client will recognize that early on in the process.
Yes. Now, of course, we all know that clients get used to things. So it's one thing when you get a new client, to introduce them to the new way that KRS works. Existing clients require transitioning. Do you have a specific methodology for transitioning clients from one kind of service into the new proactive, forward-looking services?
Well, I wouldn't say it's a structured process. We're very much in touch with our clients, and we do, even for the traditional accounting and compliance work that we do, this time of year we're in touch with all of our clients because we want to make sure that their tax plans are holding true and that there's no surprises come April. So it's in those types of conversations that you're listening. It's really about listening and hearing what their needs are, and then being able to make those kind of suggestions. A lot of our relationships have gone for very, very long. It's very common for us to have 20-year client relationships in this industry. So there is a trust between the client and the CPA.
Oh yeah, that's very important. Now, another aspect of KRS is giving back to the community. It seems to be part of your DNA. What is it that energizes you about the community involvement activities?
Well, we really do like working with local organizations, and the profession itself. We're trying to break the mold of what young people think of in the typical accountant world. So we do a lot of work with the high school here in the area. We bring students in. We do a lot of work on campus, and not only that, the young people here, the millennials here, they feel very empowered when they're part of something. So we allow them to come to us with ideas that how we can help specific charities and organizations that they feel a connection with. So that just makes everybody feel like we're part of a team, and we can achieve that for those organizations together.
That's really great. I also see that you sponsor an event called KRS Insights, an informational breakfast series. Can you tell our listeners a little bit about what that's about and how you host these, how often you host those events?
Yes, we host them about once every quarter, and usually we'll bring a professional, complimentary professional in, such as an attorney or a sales training coach, and we'll invite members of our client community and members of just the business community in our area, and it's a breakfast series where there's quite a bit of information that's provided. It's free information for our clients and the business owners in the community, and it's been very well accepted.
Now, the industry has changed dramatically since I first became a chartered accountant back in the day. Lots of people are nervous about the rapidity of change. Now, at Hayden Rock, we look at every change as an opportunity, and we're actually very excited about what's happening currently in the accounting industry. As you look forward, Maria, where do you see the opportunities?
Well, we're very excited about change too. It makes us all here very excited. I believe the opportunities are going to continue in those non-traditional service areas. I believe that we'll still be involved with our clients in the audit or the review financial statement area, and definitely the tax area, because our tax code doesn't seem to be changing anytime soon. But I believe that we're going to be more involved in the actual business operations and how those operations translate into the financial success of a business.
I see. And do you see the Institute of the American Institute of CPAs and maybe the New Jersey Society, are they helping the industry? Are they helping firms like you move forward? Are they providing support and information and things that can help you?
I believe they are. I believe that, as I mentioned earlier, we just attended the New Jersey State Society Managers and Partners Retreat last week, and they do provide programs. They do have their finger on the pulse of the profession. I believe they do. But a lot of firms, you need to go out there and seek it. You can't just sit back and expect it to come to you. You need to be out there looking.
I see. No, that makes sense. Now, just to touch back onto the business owners that we discussed as clients earlier. Perhaps you could share what some of the common mistakes you see business owners making that you'd like to help them fix.
I often see business owners not properly planning. They seem to be running their businesses the way they always have done in the past, and we do work with a lot of family businesses, so maybe it's the way that, mom or dad were running the business, and they are behind the change. They are often catching up to that change. So the best clients are the ones that are, staying on top of the trends in their industries and really looking for the next opportunity.
That's great. And perhaps stories always bring out, they always illustrate things better than just talking in the abstract. Without revealing any names, could you tell me perhaps about an interesting client, very briefly, what the situation was and what they wanted to accomplish and how you helped them?
Well, sure, I can. I mentioned one a little bit earlier that we're working with right now. This company has done very well over the course of the last 5 years. They're quite new to us. We've only been working with them about 5 years, and they've done very well doing things the way that they've always have done business. And recently, they've lost a top performer within the organization, went somewhere else, and now we're starting to see that sales have slipped a little bit in certain areas, and we're involved with real-time monitoring of the sales operations, and it's a matching of expenses and costs against those sales, and how we can make real-time decisions on a weekly basis to try to help them get through this and change the way that they are doing business.
Okay, that's great. Well, unfortunately, and a little sad to say, it's looking like our time's just about up. Is there anything that you would like to add that I didn't ask you about today?
Well, I feel that that the profession itself is changing, and we did talk a little bit about it before. And I hope that that my counterparts in the CPA profession embrace that change. I think that is really what is important to do now, and position ourselves as more than just the CPA in the traditional role. To position yourself where you can as a partner, as someone who has your client's back. I think that is, that would be my advice and my feeling towards my counterparts.
And you would like to, obviously, you would like to think of your firm as one of the firms who's leading the charge.
I would like to. I don't want to get too comfortable in that, because the minute you do, I feel that you get complacent. So I'm one to embrace the change and to continue to look for those opportunities.
Oh, that's great. That's a great attitude and position to take. So I would like to thank Maria Rollins, founding partner of KRS, for being so generous with her time today. Thank you, Maria.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Now, Maria, if people want to learn more about you or KRS, what's the best way for them to do so?
Well, they can take a look at our website. We're at krscpas.com. And there's quite a bit of information on there for all the different types of services. My contact information is there, so that would probably be the best place to find us. That was
krscpas.com, correct?
Yes, krscpas.com.
Great. Okay, there you have it. This is Ian Wellham saying goodbye for now. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time on the Accounting Success Podcast.